This is Beer 30 Sports O'Clock. I mean, it was cool. How's everybody doing this week? Man, we got a lot to cover on this episode. I am super excited to get into the NFC. Not only because this is my conference, my favorite team's conference as well, but this conference is pretty much wide open except for maybe like one or two teams that are just like stamped concrete. There's a lot of shaking up going on as far as with this conference. So, but first, news you can booze to. First and foremost, WNBA, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese made it to the All-Star game. They were voted All-Stars. It was a big moment for Angel. She let it be known at the press conference, I just...
Well, we won today. We won today, but they just told me I'm an All-Star. And, I mean, I'm just so happy. I know the work I put in. Coming into this league, so many people doubted me and didn't think my game would translate and I wouldn't be the player that I was in college or better or would be worse and wouldn't be where I am right now. But I trusted the process and I believed, and I'm thankful that I dropped to 7 and was able to come to Chicago, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah. Say what you want about her and say what you like. She knows how to work a press conference. Bro, she is an absolute star, and I'm happy to see that she is getting the recognition she deserves. She's also on her 14th double-double. Meanwhile, Caitlin got a triple-double, and this is just all around great for the WNBA. Everyone is watching now. Everyone is talking about it now. It's in the news on a regular basis now. So my thing is for the WNBA, please just continue to push them in front of everyone, whether they're beefing or not, whether they are rivals or not. Continue to push these two women and, just let them go off. Switch up. Some of y'all don't really follow soccer. I'm more of an international soccer kind of guy. The U.S. let me down as well as Mexico in the Copa Americas tournament. England and Spain are in the finals, and the USA should have never been in this predicament in the first place, and they fired their coach as of right now. A lot of people were calling for his head. The progression was not there. This team was supposed to be the next big thing. They were supposed to make it very far in the World Tournament. Obviously, the World Cup is coming to the Americas, if you will. So why in the world would you, settle for this lackluster performance? But we've got to talk about this elimination game. This ref, if you can even call him that, either was drunk or he had money on the game. Now, I know that's crazy, but that's what it was. He literally had to be. He had to have a couple of these at the stadium because this is insane.
Hey, Ream coming in from behind. Richards, the big tackle, didn't get there in time. Yellow card, Chris Rich. Well, now we're going to keep playing on. We come the other way. Ream clears the way. But
that's
the referee
ridiculous.
is showing a yellow card.
He's showing a yellow card and allowing him to play on. That's ridiculous.
He cannot give advantage.
It's insane. There's a man down on the ground. He's already got the yellow card out of his hand. He's giving a yello card, and then all of a sudden turns around and lets them play on. That would have been insane if that was a goal. Great work by Ream, first of all.
Dr. Joe Macknick, our rules analyst and former FIFA match commissioner. Give us your thoughts.
You're supposed to stop the game. The game is
absolutely, John. The referee's inexperience in a situation like this has come to the forefront. Once you may even make a motion that you're going to question the player without even pulling the card. Here he's pulling out the card and stopping the card. Now you have to have what's called an orchestrated restart, where the defensive team is given the opportunity to position themselves.
Insane to me. Like, my man
to get back to that ball, he can. Under hits it for
that wasn't the
McKinney.
only play.
Ugarte running forward, hands it off for De La Cruz, back into the middle. Richards, might have been a handball there. Looked like the referee was thinking about calling it. And why does it look like Pulisic had spun away to run? Now
you've got to let him play. Like, I don't know what this dude's problem was, man. This dude was clearly drunk. The moment was too big. Like, first beer goggles of the week goes to you, my guy. He wouldn't shake nobody's hand after. I don't understand what possibly you could have been trained, thinking, looking at. When you go for a yellow card, first off, the play is supposed to stop. Now, if Uruguay would have scored on that play, man, we would be talking about, like, just cheating, absolute straight up cheating. But anyway, on to the NBA. Bronny got picked, yay! And everyone pretty much, like, straight up
Loses their minds.
It's funny to me because, like, now all of a sudden everybody's, talking about nepotism and all this stuff, and he shouldn't have been picked over some of his teammates and all this stuff like that. My question is this: there's been several think pieces and things written about this on either side, but my real question is this: let's just take basketball out of it. Let's take talent, sports and things out of it. As far as the world we know, if you go to corporate America and the hiring director or VP or COO, and they say, hey, let him in, he's good to go, I'm vouching for him, that is the same thing that his father just did. I don't understand. And if you were his dad and you were on the Lakers or you were on the Knicks or the Celtics or wherever the case may be, it's the 55th pick in the NBA draft. There are only 2 rounds in the NBA draft, and that pick is the equivalent to, like, the bottom of the 6th in the NFL draft. So for the people that are just losing their mind and going absolutely batshit about this, y'all are worried about the wrong things. What you need to be worried about is he got paid $7.9 million. As a 55th pick, that's the highest salary ever given to a 55th pick. That's crazy, but shout out to Rich and shout out to his dad, because the family knew what they were doing. And listen, at the end of the day, nepotism, is it fair? Things like life ain't fair. Life is full of these situations, instances, and stuff like that. So good for him. Honestly, I hope he does better. I think the reason that nobody's even talking about this, which is driving me insane. I think the reason that he didn't do great in college, one, he did have that heart issue that popped up. The man almost lost his life. The young man almost died on the court, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? And people just forget that, right? Second of all, once he got cleared, you got to look at it like this too. Bronny was really, really a good player in high school. He was touted as, like, one of the top prospects, just like his dad. Obviously, his dad was higher, but, he had to go to college. Well, his dad didn't have to go to college. So this is the theory. This is simply a theory. His dad knows high school ball because he played high school ball for X amount of years, right? His dad knows NBA because his dad's been playing for umpteen decades, right? His dad has never played college basketball. So my theory is that the reason he didn't do so great in college, aside from the injury, aside from the heart issue, he didn't understand it. He didn't know how to come at it. He didn't have the guidance of his father, which we see has leverage. He didn't have that guidance because Bron has never played in college. So think about that. I just honestly, I feel like he's going to have a pretty good NBA career. I think he's going to be, I mean, he's obviously not going to be LeBron. Let's just be honest, but those are some very big shoes to fill. But at the end of the day, I don't really feel like it was something just astronomically unheard of or just so egregious that we got to write all these think pieces and all that. Like, come on, fam. The 55th pick, come on. Let's stop the madness. If it wasn't LeBron, we wouldn't even be talking about this, because when Giannis got his brother traded to his team, like, come on, stop, man. Stop. We didn't even say nothing about that. Steph, Seth, nobody cares. Nobody bats an eye. Obviously, his dad didn't have that much pull on some of the things, but they both were smaller. All three of them actually were smaller compared to NBA players, if you will, right? Speaking of the Lakers, though, and just divvying out money, so they cut LeBron a 2-year, $104 million, which they apparently was a slight deduction or a slight price cut, pay cut. It wasn't the exact max. It was a couple mil short of the max or something like that. The Lakers have looked in the mirror. They've said, you know what? We are the Lake Show, minus the championships. We just want the headlines. We want all the ruckus. We want all the ticket sales, all the jerseys. Jerseys sold out for Bronny, by the way, within like 24 hours. Like, they went absolute gone, crazy. And I'm sure LeBron's went up a tick as well. So I honestly don't think that the Lakers really give a shit about winning this year or the next 2 years. They are just trying to let him retire as a Laker, put his fucking jersey in the Raptors, because he did get a championship. However you feel about that championship, he did get one. But they don't care about winning, and honestly, they're not going to win anytime soon. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Now, their supposed rivals on the other side, on that eastern side, Boston, they cut that check. They cut the check. My boy Jason Tatum just got paid $314 million for 5 years. These contracts are insane. I'm here for it. I love it. Honestly, pay the man, pay them. That backcourt is almost $630 million, but they got a ring. They got a ring, and they're going to get more rings, and they got a ring, and they're going to be in contention for rings until the foreseeable future. Like, I'm all for it. So, honestly, yeah, Jesus. But there's more. Mitchell also signed a 3-year extension to stay in Cleveland. Now, there's been some moving around and stuff like that, but Mitchell said he's staying there for 150 M's. I'm for that. I like that. I like that pick. I like that move, or that not the pick, but I like that play. While Clay got traded, end of a dynasty. Went to the Mavs, 50 M's, had an opportunity to go play with the Lakers. Doesn't look like, again, he kind of knew he wasn't going to win now with the Lakers. It sounds like he felt a better opportunity with Kyrie, Luka, and Jason Kidd than LeBron, AD, and all the things like that. I don't know if it was a Cali thing. I think more so if it was just he saw the Lake Show and rather would be in the conference finals or the finals every other year until he's ready to go. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. We don't know what Clay was really thinking at the time. End of a dynasty. Steph, Draymond. It's gonna be tough, man. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do. Last but absolutely least, because honestly I don't really care. Paul George. He left. He left again. He does what he does best. Skip town. He skipped out on the Clippers and signed with The 76ers. Yeah, 4 years, $211 million. I don't know how, or like, he's become the Kirk Cousins of the NBA because that man is stealing.
Oh, he's stealing?
That man is straight up stealing, and there is no way anyone can convince me otherwise. That man has done nothing in LA. I think the last time you could even really be like, yo, he was the official was Indiana, and he's like a thief in the night. He gets his bread, then he's out. He's like, all right, cool, I did what I could, and I came here, I got what I wanted, and I'm out. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not really, yeah, he's stealing. Moving on. NFL. Sunday ticket lawsuit. Oh, NFL has to pay over $4.7 billion in damages to fans, to subscribers of the Sunday ticket. That is, excuse me, say what? That's crazy. Like, and some of the stuff that's been coming out for that story has been absolutely insane. They're saying that the owners have to cut a check to cover the $4.7 billion, and the numbers just keep coming out that I don't think that all these teams have it. So it's going to be a very interesting maneuvering going on as far as like some of these teams. I mean, let's just be honest. There's only like 3, maybe 4 teams that I see that have that type of capital to give towards that $4.7 billion. And yeah, out of 32, 4 teams, that ain't a good look. But yeah, so moving right along, it is time. It is time for my picks for the NFC East and the NFC South. And when I tell you that this decision was not that hard, this decision was crazy, but this decision was not that hard because the simple fact is that there are 3 teams, technically, but there's only one that is a real threat. The Giants getting back a healthy Daniel Jones. They're already showing how much they think of him on Hard Knocks. They drafted well. They lost Saquon to the Eagles, of all people. But he only had 962 yards rushing, so he wasn't much help in that shit sandwich. It's just the Giants are just not that good, right? Now, can they be better this year? Absolutely. They can be absolutely better. Like I said, they drafted good. They didn't really lose too many pieces. They gained, obviously they lost Saquon, but they gained a wide receiver, a young bull. They gained, they did some moves on defense. I really feel like they're going to make a step in the right direction as long as Daniel stays healthy. Now, if Daniel's not healthy and they don't get to where they need to go, Hard Knocks is really letting it be known. First off, this season has been actually really, really good. This was probably one of the better seasons to watch. I think they're like 3 episodes in, but it's been very drama filled with the Saquon nonsense, the Daniel Jones nonsense. Like this was probably one of the best teams to do it. Obviously, another New York team. Obviously, with all the great stuff going on, Dayball, you cannot run a 7-flat 40. If you haven't seen the clip, you need to watch it because what? Yeah. Now on to the Eagles. The Eagles got Saquon. A new offensive coordinator for him, Kellen Moore. Yes, that guy, Kellen Moore. And if Saquon wants to run, this is the team that he's going to run for because Kellen is going to run the shit out of him. And honestly, I feel like we're going to see the real deal. We're going to see whether or not Kellen Moore is actually a genius or just a privileged ass kid who got an opportunity because he came up under Jerry and them loved him because he was white bread America, or if he's really a genius. If he is a genius, this is kind of his make it or break it, I feel like, showing to be a head coach. I don't really think he's that great. I don't know. He did not do that great with the Chargers. And, you know, Jalen's not happy about having to get another coordinator. That's what, four different coordinators in 4 years. That is insane. Now, none to his fault, obviously. Most of them were stolen away, head coaching jobs, things like that. I get it. I understand. I can understand his frustration as a player, but I mean, as an organization, it's like, what the fuck you want me to do? I can't keep. We're not gonna hold back a guy, you know, and let him stay or make him stay because you're unhappy about it. Like, I mean, you know, even though they did pay you stupid amounts of money, but the Dallas Cowboys. Moving on. The Dallas Cowboys, who lost Tony Pollard, who some would say he wasn't really that guy. He wasn't a lead back. He did run a hair over 1,000 yards though for the season, off an injury from the previous year. Dak had another 4,500 yard passing season, 36 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions last year. And I get it. They look terrible against the Packers in the playoffs, and everybody has a short-term memory and can't think past that. But they had a pretty good season. They were like 12-3 or 12-4. 12-win season again. You know, they hate Dak here in Dallas, and I don't understand it. But they lost an O lineman who wasn't ready to retire. Whatever. But they didn't lose much else. Again, they didn't really draft great, but they didn't draft splash. They draft necessity, as they always do. They don't really, I don't know. Their draft really wasn't that bad. Their draft wasn't okay. It wasn't great. It was okay. It was like, okay, all right, I see what you're doing. But that's what we say every time they draft, and usually, it pans out pretty good for them. So I understand the frustration of the fans. Especially with Jerry coming out saying he's all in and all that good stuff. But it's been a lot of you know, back and forth with the contract talk. They didn't gain much either. You know what I mean? They didn't gain much. They still haven't signed Lamb, who is refusing to come in until he gets a deal, which I don't blame him, right? You know what I'm saying? This is part of what it is. They haven't signed Dak again. They haven't signed McCarthy or Parsons, who is expected to get paid. Even though he doesn't want to show up to practice with a new defensive coordinator. It's not mandatory practices, but, you know, some of his teammates are not exactly thrilled about these things, and there's been quite a few statements about it. Honestly, I feel like some of them have been a little drunk.
I'm not into that type of stuff. You know, some guys it works for. You know, like you see the Jason Kelce's and guys like that who are successful with the podcast as well as performing on the field and having success with it. So I don't have a problem with it. I feel like a lot of these guys, though, they just get on there sometimes and they start falling into the part of, you know, just saying stuff that, you know, for the clicks and, you know, having people to come view and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't have no problem with it. My thing would be, though, for Micah, my advice would be for Micah would be, you know, just make sure we're all right, you know, where and being where your feet are. Because if we're at work and, you know, the run game's terrible, but you're doing a podcast every week and you know the run game is terrible, then, you know, what are you really caring about? Are you caring about the crowd that, you know, is watching your podcast? Or are you caring about the success of our team and the Super Bowl that we're trying to reach?
Micah did respond with a tweet and deleted it, but still, nonetheless, listen. I think that they bring up a valid point. All the players that have said something, Malik Hooker was, of all people, was like out of left field. So, you know, I get it. I get what you're saying. But there's a time and a place. I'm actually on Micah's side on this. Like, you could have brought this to his attention. You could have, y'all are teammates. Y'all could bring this to each other. Obviously not in the locker room because Micah ain't there. But you could have brought this to him through phone calls, text messages, whatever the case may be. Like, hey, I get it. You know, whatever the case would be. Say what you need to say. Get it off your chest. But to do it in public like that on Undisputed, shout out to Keyshawn. But I don't know. And to me, the last time that Micah challenged or was challenged, and you know, when they got to Oxnard and stuff like that, Micah caused a ruckus with Dak. Micah is not afraid to fight. So like, I just know that the drama is real, and I can't wait to see it unfold at Oxnard when they go to training camp, because I know for a fact that when they get to Oxnard, it's gonna be some conversations, it's gonna be some tussling, it's gonna be some drama, and I can't wait to see it unfold. Whatever. But now on to the picks. The NFC has not had the same division champ back-to-back 2 years in a row since 2004. That's 20 years. That's fucking insane. But this year, that will change. The Dallas Cowboys will win the division. Reason being is that all of their toughest games, which y'all know I love talking about tough games, are at home. Yes, they lost a 1,000-yard rusher, but they got Zeke back. I typed that out, and then I said it, and now I'm thinking in my head like, what? They still have Dottle, you know, who shows flashes, and then Dak is in a contract year. I don't know if y'all remember this, but Dak has always played better in contract years, or the years after he, you know, was hurt and things like that. For example, 2019, he threw for 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, and only 11 INTs. Now, the year he got re-signed, because he got hurt 2020, 2021, the year he signed, that deal, he threw for 4,400 yards, 37 TDs, and only 10 interceptions. Their defense, even though losing the coordinator, but they have a great, and I hate to say it because I'm a fucking Packer fan, Mike Zimmer is a great defensive coordinator. While in Minnesota, he was a dog. I mean, his defenses they used to give us fits. They fucking, for Christ's sake, they rolled up on Aaron Rodgers and took him out of the season. So I have to admit it, like they are set up for success. And if you look at their schedule, right, they have at Browns, hit or miss, you know, in first game of the season, whatever the case may be. That may be a loss. Let's just be honest. They have Saints at home. I don't believe in the Saints. Then the Ravens at home, which, you know, that's a tough game. That's probably maybe an L. So they're 1-2. Then they have at Giants. They're not losing to the Giants. They have yet to lose to the Giants. Matter of fact, their record is like, Dak's record is like undefeated versus them in the season, during the season. This is all in-season stuff. Obviously, I know the playoff, blah, 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 blah. That's another show. But the regular season, Dak is that man. Dak is him. Dak is fucking him. At the Giants, at the Steelers, that's a toss-up, depending on if Russell Wilson and them show up, depending on, you know, how cold it may be, whatever the case may be, right? Then they're at home versus the Lions. Maybe, right? Then at 49ers, yeah, that's their kryptonite. Hopefully they'll get it together with dissension or in the ranks as far as with Ayuk and Debo. it's a lot of turmoil in San Francisco right now. So we'll see how that plays out. Depending on who they lose or whatever the case may be, that is, we're going to see. We'll see. At the Falcons, I don't believe in the Falcons either. Kirk Cousins adding them, cool. They playing in a dome. Dak shines in a dome. Their defense is still questionable as well. Then at home versus the Eagles. Tough game, but it's at home. Then at home versus the Texans. Tough game, but it's at home. Then at the Commanders, revenge for losing Dan Quinn, excuse me. And then at home versus the Giants, win. And at home versus the Bengals, depends. At Panthers, dub. Then at home versus the Bucks, depends on if Baker Mayfield can show back up. And then at the Eagles and finish the season off with the Commanders again. Oh, but that one's at home. Where I know some of y'all are like, well, it's the Eagles, the Eagles. The Eagles have to play the Packers overseas in Brazil. Yes, in Brazil. First fucking game. Then they're at home for the Falcons. Then they're at the Saints. Now, mind you, I don't believe in the Saints or the Falcons, again, which we'll talk about that here in a second. But I don't believe that they're going to come out unscathed on both of those games because playing the Saints dome is pretty tough. And first 3 games are always right. Then at Bucks, versus the Browns, again, depends on what Browns show up. Then at Giants win, and then at Bengals. At Bengals is going to be the interesting one. So literally, all these, like I said, all these things are in consideration. Then they got to play the Jaguars. Then they got to play at Cowboys. Like the Eagles don't have a very easy schedule. At Rams, at Ravens, I could see them finishing very close. Like I said, this is not going to be just a walk in the park for the Cowboys either. But I don't, like I said, people think that, Dak is not going to get you there. Well, Dak will at least get you 12 wins. Dak will get you 10 to 12 wins easily. And this division, that is pretty much all you're going to need. I'd say maybe 11. 11 wins is all you'll need in this division. The Giants, they're not ready yet. And the Eagles, again, it's going to come down to traveling. The Eagles usually have some of the toughest traveling schedule, and it continues again this year. So, with that being said, I got to drink a beer from the city of Dallas, which I've already been doing because I like the Half-Life hazy IPA. Yes, I'm back on the hazy IPAs. This is called the Manhattan Project. But yeah, we're not talking about them anymore. It's a really good one. Found it. It is on the line. But we're gonna talk about Lakewood Lager. All right. So Lakewood Lager. I like the label, like the LKWD with the lager as a sign. It's, I like it. I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice white, blue, yellow can. It's amber lager. Some of the amber lagers are good. Some of them aren't. So we'll just, shut up and try it, right? All right. Now that sounded good. Not gonna lie, that sounded really good. All right, we're foaming. We're foaming. We're foaming. Not bad. Not bad at all. That is actually, Okay. So, Texas, they make good breweries out here, man. I rock with Texas heavy on the breweries because, man, I be worried about some of y'all's cans, some of y'all's flavors and stuff like that. But, man, Texas, y'all be, thank you, Jesus, because, I was a little worried. I was like, man, I don't know about amber lager, but here we are. Now, Let's run on down to the South. NFC South. This division, somebody's got to win it, right? So it's a very tricky division because they could fool you into thinking that they're not so good of a division, but they've got some sneakiness to them. A lot like the AFC South. It's really weird to me because New Orleans, they have another year with Derek Carr, which I don't believe in Derek Carr. Say what you will about him. He had Devontae Adams and didn't do really great. They couldn't win it, obviously. That's why he's gone. They do, however, still have Kamara and still have Jamal, the emotional Williams, helping out. And that defense is definitely a force as well. Like, that is the one thing that made me kind of like that defense is absolutely going to keep them in games, but I fear for how long. You know what I'm saying? Like, their defense is absolutely a force to be reckoned with, but that offense is atrocious. I don't really believe in any of their wide receivers. Tight end, maybe. Offensive line, like, it's just a lot of question marks for me on the offense. The defense, we good. I believe in them. They got some power over there. The Bucks, also a roster I don't believe in. I think Baker Mayfield was a flash in the pan. Nobody expected him to be good. He's getting a second chance. I think that's great. I think everybody deserves their second chance. He did what he was supposed to do. Now he got a bag. Now he's the number one quarterback in the team. He doesn't have to question that because there is nobody behind him. And then their wide receivers, most of them are on the way out the door. One, they're talking about his Hall of Fame career already. And the other one, but I just... They don't have a running back that I believe in. I'm sorry. And who is going to help them win the division? Their defense is not bad, but who is going to help them win this division? I don't believe in this roster. This depth chart, this roster is, at best, this depth chart is, Look, and they got... Oh, wow, they just put the depth... Oh, that's the roster. My bad. I thought that was the depth chart. I was about to say, they just put Baker as a second? No. Yeah, I mean, Rashad White, Bucky Irving, Chase Edmonds, and I don't like... So my question is, obviously they got Vedavia. Everybody knows that name. They still got Levante David, but how good will he be? It's been some years. I think he's looking at, he's 34, and in linebacker years, that's like 50, 49, 50. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he still did have 4.5 sacks last year. He still had he had 86 tackles, but I just don't see it, man. I don't know. I don't see it for Tampa Bay. I wish I could. They're just not. I don't know. They're just not as good as I would have hoped. But yeah, the Atlanta Falcons, interestingly enough, I think have the best chance to win this division. Adding Kirk Cousins, that man who I said was stealing, he's also a Dak Prescott, just a white version of Dak Prescott. He is the one guy that will win you this in-season games. He'll get you the 4,000, maybe 5,000 yards, bunch of touchdowns, not a lot of interceptions. they have questions on defense as well. The running back obviously was a great pick. That was their whole entire offense last year, which, I mean, listen, we lost to them, so I ain't even, listen, the Packers lost to them. I believe, look, I watched that game, I believe, but was it a flash in the pan? Is this the second year slump? You know, all these things. Now that the tape is out on him, is it over, right? At least that's what, you know, what most of you are probably wondering as well. The biggest thing I see for the Falcons is, you know, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, like they're building something there. But again, their defense is just very questionable, right? NFC South is just very tricky, right? And they just don't scare anybody. Panthers, I'm not even going to get into them. They don't really, they are in complete rebuild. Let them continue to rebuild, all right? Now, with that being said, there are the Bucks. The Bucks have won 3 in a row. They have won the division 3 times in a row. But they won't win this one. They won't win this one. I have the Atlanta Falcons winning this. They have a schedule set up for Kirk because they were so bad last year. They were absolutely terrible. A lot of their tough games as well are at home, right? They have Steelers at home, at the Eagles, tough. Then they have the Chiefs at home, which I don't know who set that up, but that's crazy. Then they have the Saints at home. So division rival or division, you know, game, you know, boom, 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 right? And then they have the Bucks at home. First 4 games, realistically speaking, 1, 2, 3, they could be, 5 games. They could be 3 and 2. Maybe 2 and 3, right? Whereas the Saints, or the Bucks, the Bucks, they are versus the Commanders at home, right? Which I'll give you that one. At the Lions, no. Then Broncos, okay, at home, okay, maybe, possibly, right? It's probably a dub. Then Eagles at home, and then at Falcons and at Saints. Very easily could be 1, 2, and 3 or 4, right? 2 or 3 and 4, right? I don't really believe in Baker or that defense to continue, or that offense just to continue, right? Whereas the Falcons, Kirk, we've seen it with Kirk. Kirk, he gets some weapons, especially the younger weapons, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Justin Jefferson. I mean, like, he will make them look good in the season. Now in the playoffs again, this is, you know, that's for another show, it's for another argument. But you know, at the Panthers, again, first 6 games, man, they could literally be over 500 and looking down on the rest of the division. I mean, the Saints, if you look at the Saints' schedule, their schedule is actually kind of brutal. They're at the Cowboys' 2nd game. Then they play the Eagles the 3rd game. At the Chiefs, the 4th game or 5th game. At Falcons, 4th game. Bucks. Then at the chart, like, man, the Saints they're gonna be absolutely tested. The Falcons, on the other hand, not so much. After the Panthers, they got Seahawks at home, at Bucks, and then they got the Cowboys, but they got the Cowboys at home. So there's very good opportunity that they could be on a over 500, 7, 8 win season. Right off the bat, right off the bat. Now, will they be great this season? No. Honestly, I feel like Kirk is going to have one of those seasons again where he is, you know, he's good, but he's not great. For instance, let's see, what was his last season before he got hurt, Minnesota, he did 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 14 interceptions. And he only really had that year, I want to say maybe Justin Jefferson in a couple of, well, no, he might have had Thielen at the time. Yeah, I think he had Thielen at the time too. So here's my thing, right? I do think Kirk has a better run game in Atlanta. I think Kirk has more weapons in Atlanta. And I do think that their defense, though they have question marks, their defense actually can withstand and can play better when they're ahead or tied, or you know what I mean? Whereas the Saints, they're going to be playing from, defense is going to be playing a lot from behind. And if they're going to be playing a lot from behind, they're going to have to be a lot more aggressive, a lot more. You're going to depend on that defense to win you games. And I don't think they have it in them to win 16, 17 games. They just don't have it. You know what I mean? So that is why I picked Atlanta. So, Sweetwater, extra pale ale 420. It was coming. The originals. So Sweetwater is from, Atlanta, Georgia. They are, Atlanta, Georgia, and Fort Collins. But anyway, so Sweetwater extra pale ale. The can is cool. It's all green, which scares me. Not gonna lie, that scares me because I can smell the hops before I even open it. I like the highway sign. It's kind of dope. Like, I like the highway sign. It's one of those things where, so all right, let's get into it, right? Oh, okay, another one that sounded better. Damn, Manhattan Project, y'all need to get y'all shit together, man. Yeah, that was y'all making my intro sound crazy. I don't know if I'm drunk or that's not that bad. Extra pale ale and hazy pale ale almost tastes. No, that's not that bad. All right, I'll give him that. That's not that bad. All right, Listen, I'm not a pale ale guy, but apparently I'm either in my old age, I'm getting to be a pale ale guy because this is crazy. And yeah, that's not that bad at all. So shout out to them. Shout out to Sweetwater. Shout out to Lakewood Lager, Lakewood Brewing Company. The beers were absolutely good today. So I'm good. So appreciate that. And and if you think I'm crazy, if you think that the Falcons are going to lose it, Kirk Cousins has lost a step since his injury, the Saints are going to win, I'm foolish, blah, blah, blah. Comment, like, subscribe, let me know. Please let me know because I just don't see it. But you can tell me quick, fast, and in a heartbeat that I am foolish, and we're, go from there. But like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you again for watching. Oh, he's stealing? This is Beer 30 Sports O'Clock.